For the longest time in cybersecurity, we built these digital fortresses to keep the bad guys out. But what happens when that whole idea of an inside and an outside just disappears? When your office is wherever you can get Wi Fi and your data lives in the cloud? Well, that's the puzzle we're going to unpack today. How you build trust in a world that has no borders.
So to really get where security is headed, we have to start with the fundamental problem it's trying to solve. So let me just ask you this. What does every single cyber attack, from the simplest phishing scam to a massive ransomware incident, what do they all really have in common? The answer is they all, in some way, attack the three pillars of data protection. Seriously, every security measure ever invented is designed to defend these core principles. If you can get your head around these, you can understand everything else.
Okay, so before we jump into the shiny new rules of zero trust, we have to master the timeless foundation of security. These are the unchanging principles that basically govern the entire field. It's called the CIA Triad. No, not that CIA. We're talking confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality is simple. It's about keeping secrets secret. Think encryption or access controls. Integrity means making sure that the information hasn't been messed with, which is what things like digital signatures are for. And finally, availability, well, that's just making sure you can actually get to your stuff when you need it. That's why we have backups and redundant systems. At the end of the day, every cyber attack is trying to break at least one of these three things. For decades, the way we defended those three pillars was with a castle and moat approach. We'd build a massive digital wall, a firewall, around our network, and pretty much assume anyone who made it inside was trustworthy. But with the cloud, with remote work, the inside of the castle has basically vanished. So we need a new model, one that works less like a fortress and a lot more like a modern airport. And that brings us to this huge paradigm shift. The old model was trust but verify. The assumption was, hey, if you're on our network, you're probably one of the good guys. The new model, zero trust, just throws that whole idea out the window. Its philosophy is that no one is inherently trusted, period. It doesn't matter if you're inside the building or on the other side of the world. This is the mantra. Seriously, if you remember only one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. Never trust, always verify. It means every user, every device, every single request has to prove it's legit every single time. It's a really profound change in how we think about security. So, okay, that's the philosophy. But how do you actually build a system based on that? What does it look like in practice? Let's deconstruct the architecture of this modern defense. Zero trust is really built on three core principles. First, verify explicitly. This means you don't trust any request until it's been properly authenticated and authorized. Second, use least privilege access. You give people access only to the exact resources they need to do their job and absolutely nothing more. And third, and this one is a real game changer, assume breach. You build your system with the expectation that an attacker is already inside. This forces you to design defenses that limit the damage they can do once they're in. Now, these principles are held up by several pillars all working together. It's not just about identity, who you are. It's also about your device. Is it secure? Is it up to date? It's about the network itself, which we break down into tiny, secure little pockets. It's about the applications and the data you're trying to touch. And the glue holding it all together, that's visibility, a system that's constantly watching, analyzing, and connecting all the dots in real time. But here's the kicker. This isn't a one-and-done check at the front door. The real power, the magic of zero trust, is that it never stops working. It's a system that is always on, always thinking, 24/7. This is something we call continuous verification. Instead of just checking your password once when you log in the morning, the system is constantly revalidating everything, your identity, your device, your location, all in real time. This is the engine that makes always verify a reality. So I want you to picture it like a constant security loop that runs for every single action you take. Let's say you want to open a file. The system doesn't just go, yep, you're logged in, go for it. Nope. First, it verifies your identity. Again. Then it checks the health and security of the device you're using at that very moment. And finally, it confirms that this specific request to open this file is legitimate and authorized for you. And then the whole thing repeats, automatically, intelligently, for everything you do. It's security that truly never sleeps. Now, I know this might sound incredibly complex, but it's already being used by some of the biggest companies in the world. It's fascinating to see how this actually works out in the real world.
Take Google, for example. They were absolute trailblazers here with their Beyond Corp framework. They completely got rid of their traditional VPNs. Just gone. Instead, security now follows the user and their device, no matter where they are in the world. Every single request is authenticated on its own, creating this global security net without any old-fashioned walls.
And the results? They really speak for themselves. After Microsoft adopted a zero trust framework, they saw an 80% reduction in what are called lateral movement attacks. That's when an attacker gets inside and then just runs wild through the network. Zero trust is designed to slam that door shut. And this isn't just for tech giants. In the banking world, HDFC Bank implemented zero trust with continuous monitoring. The result? 60% fewer fraudulent access attempts. I mean, the proof is right there in the numbers. This model just plain works. So, at the end of the day, the crucial point is this. Zero trust is an incredibly powerful model for our modern, borderless digital world. But it also leaves us with a really fascinating question. By assuming everyone is a potential threat and constantly verifying them, are we creating too much friction? Or can we make this whole process so seamless and intelligent that we don't even notice it's happening? The real question we're left with is, can we ever truly find that perfect balance between ironclad security and user convenience?